The coolest thing in here is that bullhorn. We are here in Dallas, Texas. I just gave you the tip of the hat. And there's Patty right there. Patty, where are we at?
George W. Bush Presidential Library.
How many presidential libraries have we visited?
I don't know because I bought you a passport and you lost it.
Well, can you remember all the ones there are? Ronald Reagan, Harry S. Truman, Abraham Lincoln, and today we're here at the George Bush Presidential Library.
I think we've seen more than that.
Ronald Reagan was really cool. But anyway, we're here at the George Bush and we wore cowboy hats, right? Now, we know we normally do haunted house stuff, but I like any kind of attraction. And to me, these are attractions. Oh, I have also been to the Jimmy Carter Presidential Library as well. So I remember visiting that one, but I didn't make a video, but now I am. We're not allowed to use our handheld device because they said that could be a weapon. So it's going to be kind of shaky. I'm just going to kind of walk through and show you what it's all about. And talk about it. There's a lot of things that went on when George Bush was president, including 9/11. And as if you weren't aware, his father was a president for one term, and George Bush was the president for 2 terms. He was the president after Bill Clinton, and the president after him was, if you're not aware, Obama. His vice president was Dick Cheney. And there was a movie made about Dick Cheney. The movie was about how Dick Cheney was technically in charge. Okay. So if you believe it or not, I don't know. But I think his wife was universally liked. Some of the things I remember about George Bush being president was when he was in Iraq and somebody threw a shoe at him. That was kind of funny. But he did invade Iraq, which I think was a mistake. But it was done. And then, of course, he dealt with the whole situation with Afghanistan, which was incredibly awful. We have to remember, though, and I'm not trying to get political, Osama bin Laden attacked the United States when Bill Clinton was president. And they claim that Bill Clinton had a chance to take Osama bin Laden out and didn't. He denies that. But they tried to blow up the Trade Center the first time while Bill Clinton was president, and they blew a hole in the destroyer, the Cole. And this is all about the election. And if you remember, this election was very similar to the Trump-Clinton election in the fact that they said it wasn't fair. So if you don't recall, they did a recount about hanging chads. I think that
nobody knew what a Chad was.
Nobody knew what a Chad was. I think if you really think about it, I mean, George Bush wasn't really controversial, nor was his wife. He wasn't really a lightning rod. The whole country melted down in the last year of his presidency with all the banks that collapsed. And so you'll see that they've got a movie in here, which obviously starts right off with 9/11. And so we won't watch all that. But yeah, there's footage over here about the hanging chads. I think we all would agree that Al Gore as president probably wouldn't have been a good thing. He did take credit for inventing the internet, which he didn't. Another thing about George Bush that you may not know, but he used to own the Texas Rangers. His presidential library, just FYI, is on the campus of Southern Methodist University, a very rich university, I might add. And here is a dress worn by his wife. And there it is. And here is the famous picture, Patty, the famous picture, where's she? Patty. Of him being informed of the attack on the United States. That's the famous picture. He was reading a book to elementary kids, and that's him being informed. And he talked a lot about that because he took a lot of criticism that, he should have jumped up and done something. What is he going to do? He didn't want to freak out a bunch of kids. I think he played it perfect. Finished reading the book, and he left. Oh my goodness. Here's a piece of the World Trade Center. That is amazing that that's here. And this is a wall of all the people who died. And so you see Flight 175, Flight 93, people who died at the Pentagon. All their names are on the wall. World Trade Center North. So all of these people are listed. That's very cool. And that is a real piece of the World Trade Center right there. What do you think about that, Patty? There, Patty, look up. No, turn around. Stand in front of it. I want to take your picture in front of it. Stand over there. I'm going to get Patty's picture here. So, you know what destroyed the World Trade Center was the airplane fuel. It made the building so hot that it melted the beams. And then the weight of it just, crumbled down from level to level to level.
His innocence violate the fundamental tenets of the Islamic faith.
A poet wrote,
So,
"Love knows not its own depth."
oh my gosh, look at this, Patty.
The loved ones we remember
The famous
today
bullhorn.
knew, even in those horrible moments,
You can see there.
that they were not
He's holding the
truly alone,
bullhorn. Patty, there's
but
the
your
bullhorn.
love was with them.
That's it.
The bullhorn. Remember the bullhorn?
I can hear you!
When he said that they're going to pay, and he was standing in New
I'll
York.
be sure everybody will hear us.
Yeah,
And the
that's the
weakest
bullhorn.
attack are compassion and generous
Here's the
citizens.
baseball that he threw out
Have
if you
led
watch
the
the
first
new
phase.
recreation theater.
Mm-hmm.
Where he threw out the baseball.
Yeah, like at the Mets game, at the
Yeah.
World Series. Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
And that's the baseball that he threw out. Because George Bush said, no, you shouldn't cancel the World Series. You should play it. And he went and threw out the first pitch, and there's the jacket he wore and the baseball he threw. And you can see he signed the baseball. So freaking cool. Obviously, 9/11 was a horrific thing that George Bush had to deal with, and I think he did a fantastic job. He got the whole world behind him, and they literally took out the Taliban in a matter of days. He gave them a chance to turn over Osama bin Laden. They refused. The mistake was Iraq. But either way. And then, of course, you can learn about what, in my opinion, it says use weapons of mass destruction on his own people and neighboring countries. They're basically just trying to justify the invasion of Iraq. Whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, this says this is Saddam Hussein's handgun. Patty, that's Saddam Hussein's handgun. And if you guys remember, George Bush, they literally labeled all of the the people they were trying to capture by a card, meaning Saddam was the ace of spades. And so they went down the deck and ranked them. And these were Iraq people that they wanted to take out. You know, when you walk through these presidential libraries, you remember a lot of things that you may have forgotten. It's hard to forget about 9/11. That will always be associated with Bush's time and as the president. And then here's a little bit of information about Guantanamo Bay.
September 11th.
More about
was a day that is seared in the memory of Americans.
there's
All of our lives
Condoleezza
changed
Rice
that
is
day, and so did our national security strategy.
Secretary of State talking. So when you come to these presidential libraries, I mean, you're going to get George Bush's perspective on the things that happened and why he did the things that he did or made the decisions he made. And in here is what every presidential library has. A replica of the Oval Office. And here it is. An exact replica. This is exactly what it would have looked like if you went there when he was president. Now, one of the things that's interesting is whenever a new president comes in, he gets to pick the blinds, the color of the walls, and the carpet. And this may have been the carpet from when he was there, but I doubt it, because they give the new incoming president the choice, and they move the carpet out and everything. Now, when Trump was president, he wanted gold curtains, and this would be a replica of the Resolute desk, which was given to the United States from the British, or it was made from a British ship, the Resolute. That's what I think it was. And if you watch those movies with Nicolas Cage, they weren't aware that there was a secret compartment. Yeah, so right here, you can read about it. It'll say the HMS Resolute forming part of an expedition set to search for, yeah, so it's something to do with like a whaling ship, I guess, and the Resolute desk in the White House was made from lumber from that ship. Okay, Patty. Should we get a picture of me? Let's put this down. Can you take a picture of me behind the Resolute desk? From over there. Here we go. We're gonna get a picture.
We got to the point where there's another.
She's. There we go.
Perfect with the.
All right. Can we make you the first president? Let's make you the first female president. Let's get your picture. No, get back there. You're in the Oval Office.
No, you're not. It's a
Here we go. We'll get Patty's picture. Whoops. So Patty is now officially the president. So I would imagine that that these actual frames and pictures were the ones in the White House while he was there. That's why they have two people watching. And here you go. Let's see. We are in George Bush replica of what the White House looked like when he was president. And there's the Resolute desk. And there you have it. And a picture of George Washington. And you know, the most famous thing that they talk about all the time is this bust of Churchill, which is right there. And a bust of Abraham Lincoln. And then the other bust that every president has, is this Dwight D. Eisenhower bust? I'm guessing it is. Yep, Dwight D. Eisenhower. There you have it. I don't see the Martin Luther King bust, but it's very cool. So as we continue on, let's see what else. Oh, so they have a map of the White House. Now the White House has been built onto again and again and again, like the West Wing, the East Wing, you know, to house all the president's workers, people who advise them, and everything else. Now, one of the things I'm not doing with this video is I'm not reading all this stuff. You would come here and read it yourself. This talks about the Lincoln Room and how it was renovated while George Bush was there. And there's another dress that Laura Bush wore. There's the like a kind of a picture of the Rose Garden. And here is China. And you can see George Bush wearing a tuxedo right there. And you can see Laura Bush wearing this dress. And then you can see a video of what went on that night. They had this party. Here's George Bush's jacket that he would wear when he was on Air Force One. And then there's Laura's. Now, if you go to the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, oh, and here's some soccer balls, footballs, and things of this nature that was given to George Bush while he was president. And there's his bicycle, because he was famous for riding bicycles. And here's a deflated volleyball. Presidential medals.
Hi, I'm Jenna Bush.
Oh, and then there's...
And I'm Barbara Bush. Thanks for joining us as we take a look at some of the lighter moments during our father's time in office.
And here's a video of some of the funny things that happened.
Throughout his presidency, and particularly spent
and there was a lot of funny things because George Bush wasn't the most elegant speaker. So he would stumble on his words a lot.
Life in the White House is exhilarating, and it's a challenge. But you're really in a bubble. There was no place to roam.
Camp David, personally for me, is the only place, except our own ranch, where I can walk outside, where I can be outside. Many of our happiest memories from camp are
and there's Patty enjoying the video.
We spent every Christmas here with all of our family. We had the girls' 20th birthday party.
And let's see what else we have over here. I just wanted to say that when you come to these presidential libraries, you do a lot of reading, which I'm not going to do. That's why you come to the presidential library. This is giving you a good idea of what it's like and what you would learn about. And then every presidential library, just so you know, has a library, which would have a lot of documents from his presidency. So if you wanted to study those documents, you can come here and they'd have a library and you can sit down and read it all. So you could literally spend...
It's about to start. You want to come in?
No, what is it for?
Decision Points Theater.
And what does it do?
Welcome to the Decision Points Theater.
Ah.
I'm Josh Bolton. I served President Bush as Chief of Staff from 2006
Oh, so this is like the decision room.
I'm Condoleezza Rice. I was the President's National Security Advisor from 2001 to 2005 and his Secretary of State from 2005 to 2009.
And I'm Andy Card, and I served President Bush as his Chief of Staff from 2001 to 2006. George W. Bush made many tough decisions as president. Now you'll get a flavor for what that's like.
Take a look at the list of scenarios in front of you. First, you will select which one you
So it's like an interactive museum where you can choose to make decisions.
The experts will not agree among themselves, but your job is to make
Very
decisions.
interesting.
You'll have to work fast. This experience is time, and you may be
It's really cool to come to these museums because it reminds you of things that happened while you've been alive, or things that happened before you were aware of global politics and things of this nature. And then here is a video of George Bush talking about where to put his presidential library. I can tell you right now that obviously it was going to SMU because SMU is probably the richest college in Texas. I mean, they got some big money behind SMU, so it's literally on the campus of SMU, and it's not a very big library, but there you have it. So we walk through it. Usually what also happens on a presidential library, they'll have a tomb for the president and his wife. They usually are buried at those presidential libraries. And you come here and you would do a lot of reading. One of the things I would say too about this presidential library, it's only like a couple miles from where John F. Kennedy was killed. And they have a museum there as well, so that you can learn all about the JFK assassination that occurred here in Dallas. And there you have it. There's much more. There's a restaurant here. There's, like I said, his library where you could read, like, documents that have been unclassified and so on and so forth. So, oops. Sorry, I couldn't have my little handheld thing, so it makes it really hard. What did you think about the presidential library here, Patty?
I like it.
You like it?
Yeah.
Would you like to go through and just read it more? Did it make you remember things? Like, how old were you when he was president?
With less than 2% of the ocean having protected, there is an enormous amount left to do to ensure a healthy ocean for future generations.
When he became president or when he left?
I was 26 when he became president.
Yeah, there you go. Remember the whole Al Gore situation with the So, my favorite presidential library is the Ronald Reagan one. That one was really cool.
I agree with you. It was really cool. Air Force One, retired Air Force One is
Retired Air Force One. You can walk through it.
But I felt like I learned more from the Truman one.
A lot of things happened during Truman.
Yeah, a lot.
The Truman one is like right outside of Kansas City. And he dealt with
so much.
The atomic bomb. He'd made the decision to drop it.
And he was how many presidents started off from vice president, from having to step up as vice president into the presidency?
Yeah, and he dealt with the death of the president. He dealt with the Korean War. He was the president during the Korean War. He also dealt with the decision to drop the atomic bomb.
So I think
it was
that
his
one
decision.
was my favorite. So that was my favorite.
Yeah, it was. He also dealt with the Berlin.
Didn't he drop it twice?
The airlift.
Didn't he drop a bomb twice?
When Russia tried to keep us out of our side of Berlin, and they did the airlift. He also dealt with rebuilding Europe. Like Europe was rebuilt with funds from the United States while Truman was president. One other thing that I'll tell you about the George Bush Presidential Library, and is in fact the case for most presidential libraries, is they have the president buried at the library. Not every president has a presidential library, by the way. So that's become a thing later, and some are getting them like after the fact. But this right here will be where Laura Bush and President George W. Bush will be buried, right here. So there would actually be a tomb here, which you would access from the top, and it'll be like a full tomb. So they wouldn't be buried in the dirt or anything. It would be a tomb put into the ground where you could walk into it, and then their coffins would just be on stands with like a flag over it. And you can see his presidential seal. It says 43. And this is where he'll be buried. And they created this to look like the Rose Garden at the White House, because his wife was very fond of it and did a lot of work to it and whatnot. And so this is just kind of like one little piece that I asked, and they said yes, he'll be buried right here. And so I thought I would walk out and see this. But yeah, that was the other thing that I wanted to say, that when you visit presidential libraries, they almost always have the president buried there. Now, they built an Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library in Springfield, Illinois. Abraham Lincoln is not buried there. He's buried at a cemetery nearby. But with most presidential libraries, I want to say all of them, the president is literally buried there. And George Bush will be buried here, right there. And there's Patty walking out into the Texas version of the Rose Garden. If you ever see like the presidents, you know, they come out of the Oval Office, you see, and you see the pillars and the beams. They've actually recreated that here. So, you know, George Bush is getting older, and yeah, we're all getting older. But yep, he'll be buried right there. So when you do visit the presidential library, let's say 50 years from now, I would assume, or who knows when, that's where you'll find George Bush and his wife. So sorry we had to like make one little add-on to this video, but thanks for watching the video. Now that we're actively uploading things to the YouTube channel, I'm going to try to go to the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library, because that one is probably, actually, when I take it back, it might be the coolest one, because it's more of an attraction. They have like simulated characters, and they have soldiers, and they're all like, superimposed somehow with like pepper ghost effects and cameras. They have like a replica of Abraham Lincoln's home inside there. It's actually really cool. I mean, obviously you learn a lot about slavery at the Abraham Lincoln Presidential Library. And when you visit it, and by the way, for all you people that come for Transworld, if you ever wanted to, you can stop into Springfield, Illinois, which is very close to St. Louis, maybe an hour and a half. And then not far away is where Abraham Lincoln was buried, and you can actually walk into that. And he's like, because people stole his body or tried to steal his body, he's like nearly impossible to get to now. Like you'd have to have heavy machinery to get him out. So anyway, that's my knowledge about that, and you can visit that in Springfield, Illinois. It's kind of like if you go to Memphis, it's all about Elvis. Springfield, Illinois is all about Abraham Lincoln. But anyway, there you have it, George Bush. The coolest thing in here is that bullhorn. The saddest thing, obviously, is the 9/11 beam, which I would say a big chunk of this museum is about 9/11. Yes. So anyway, thanks, and make sure you like and subscribe to the channel, because we're doing a whole bunch of haunted house walkthroughs over the next 2 months. We're going to be uploading them again and again and again. Oh, and here's a famous thing when George Bush was president that he got a lot of criticism for, was the flooding of New Orleans. And they talk about that right here. The reason why he got criticized is because he flew over it and he didn't get out of his plane and and they made all kinds of accusations. I think they're unfounded because, I mean, the whole city was flooded. He's the president. So I don't think a lot of times presidents make these decisions. Their security teams make these decisions on what they think is safe or not safe for the president, but whatever. It is what it is, but there's a whole section right here about New Orleans. And you know what's really cool is New Orleans Six Flags is still abandoned, and they use it a lot for filming locations. In fact, they filmed a big chunk of Jurassic Park there. One of the Jurassic Parks was filmed there. Lots of films were filmed there. But anyway, this whole thing is about Hurricane Katrina. And then, if you look over here, I think I talked about this, the financial crisis. And so you're going to get George Bush's take on how that happened and why that happened, and so on and so forth.
Bobby Jindal, the governor at the time, my favorite.
Of Louisiana?
Yeah.
He might have been. Because he wanted to run for president, or he did.
I
don't
really liked
remember.
him. No, he never, I don't think he ever did, but that was the rumor.
Well, either way, thanks for watching the video. We thought we're kind of like, our YouTube channel is about being an opportunist. So if we're somewhere and we can show you an attraction, then we will. But we have many, many videos coming up. We're not trying to be YouTube. We're trying to just document attractions as we visit them. Until next time, happy Halloween, I guess.
It's not Halloween.
I know it's not Halloween.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year. This is being filmed the day before New Year's Eve. Take care, everybody.
For scary videos and more, subscribe to our YouTube page, Hunt World.